Today's topic is relief, and relief is a change in height of the land's surface, such as mountains, hills, valleys, plains, all of those different types of landforms. All relief features have slopes, and there are 4 different types of slopes. Slopes can be concave, convex, uniform, or step. So now that we have looked at the different types of slopes, let us now zoom in on each of them, beginning with a concave slope. Now, concave slopes are steep in the higher areas and get gentle as height decreases. On a typical topographical map, lines are usually closely spaced in the higher areas and gradually get widely spaced at the lower heights. Convex slopes are gentle at higher heights and gradually get steeper as height decreases. Contour lines are often shown to be closely spaced at the lower heights and widely spaced at the higher heights on topographical maps. Uniform slopes have the same degree of steepness along the entire slope. The contours are always evenly spaced. Stepped slopes comprise alternating steep sections separated by flat sections. Hence, sections of a narrow-spaced contour alternate with widely spaced lines on maps. Here we have a concave slope, slope AB. Now it's a concave slope because at the top we notice that it is steep, but as we gradually come to the lower section of the slope, it begins to get gentler, forming a concave shape. Now right here on the flip side, as you can see, slope AB, the contour lines are close or are closely spaced to each other as we are at the top of the slope. But as we go to the lower end of the slope or gradually move towards the lower end of the slope, the contour lines begin to get wider, spaced from each other. And that is how a typical concave slope looks on a topographical map. Here's another example of our concave slope. So in the upper areas of our profile, you can see the slope, the lines are very close to each other, but as we go further down slope or further along our profile, the lines gradually are spaced out, are getting wider from each other. Similarly, if we go down our profile, the slope gets steep, but as we continue to go further down the profile of our slope, it gets gentler and forming our concave slope. Here is a photograph of our concave slope, an actual concave slope. Now a convex slope is the opposite of the concave slope, whereas we can see here in the upper part of the slope, the slope is actually gentle, but as we go further down the slope, it begins to get steeper, forming our concave slope. Here we have our corresponding contour showing where the lines are further apart in the upper section from A, which is the upper part, but as we go further down towards B, the lines begin to get closer, indicating that the slope is now getting steeper. Here we have our slope. Now as we move from B going down slope towards A, the lines gradually get wider from each other, showing that the slope here is gentle. But as we go closer to A, the lines begin to get closer to each other. So we can see here now that the slope is getting steeper. As on the look at the corresponding profile now, we're going down the slope and you can see it's getting gentler, but nearing the end of the slope it begins to get steeper. Therefore we see here that we have our convex slope. Here's an actual photograph of our concave slope and notice its features. Now a uniform slope is one in which the contour lines are evenly spaced from each other, so they are not in any section either close or separated. Going all the way through the entire slope, the contour lines are evenly separated from each other, so the slope just looks uniform or continuous, not showing any form of steepness or gentleness, but just in one particular form, alright, because the contour lines are evenly apart. Just like in our photograph that we have here. So they can be uniform and be steep, or just uniform and be gentle. But as long as the contour lines are all the way uniform or evenly apart, then we'll have a uniform slope. Now as the name implies, a step slope actually looks like a step. So you have an area where the contour lines are close, then a wider area where the contour lines are farther apart, and another area of contour lines being close. So it's alternating space of wide contour and an alternating space of close contours going up along the slope. So you have a slope that is shaped like a step. Here we have a photograph of an actual stepped slope. Now some step slopes are created artificially in areas of agriculture, but you do have stepped slopes formed naturally. And so we've come to the end of our lesson for today. Stay tuned for part 2 of reliefs. Have a great day. Continue to love geography with all thy might. Take care.